Hello friends, and happy Thanksgiving to anyone who celebrates. Today I want to build an autumnal ranch style home in the world of Chestnut Ridge. I'm thinking we'll go for something kind of like this. This is what I'm using for my inspo photo, except I'm gonna add in some more fall and Thanksgiving themed kind of decor. But we're here in Chestnut Ridge. You're gonna notice there's already some fencing placed down, and that's because I was counting out tiles and I figured you maybe didn't want to see that part because it was just the cursor moving across the screen. So we're hopping straight into the build and starting with the exterior. I am using that photo I showed you in the beginning as an inspo photo. So I have it like on my other screen and I'm kind of building off of that. It's not a perfect replica, but I kind of just use those as like light blueprints, if you will. Like I don't stress too much if it's exactly the same as long as I like the way it looks in The Sims, because not everything in real life looks good in The Sims, you know what I mean? But I haven't done a speed build in quite some time, so I haven't just talked to the camera like this in a while. I apologize if I'm a little bit rusty, but I'm filming this on Tuesday before Thanksgiving and we just hit 4,000 subscribers on the channel, so I'm extra thankful for you guys today. But with that being said, I think maybe it's now a good time for me to do like a introduction and about myself again, maybe. It's been a while since I've done it and we have a lot of new friends here now. So while this exterior is coming together, I'm gonna do a little introduction of myself. And if you want to give me a little introduction of yourself in the comments as well. I go by PlumeriaPlay on here, but my actual name is Sarah. I'm 29 years old and have been married to my husband Dante for 6 years. A little over now, almost 6.5 at this point. I think technically we got married on the 1st of June. We have 3 pets. I have 2 dogs and 1 cat. I have Lily, who's a golden retriever, Duke, who is kind of a mix. I think he's like a Lab and Great Pyrenees mix. And then we have Apollo, who makes the most appearances on my channel. So a lot of you have probably seen Apollo before. Lily's a little over 10 years old. We estimate Duke is about the same age as her, and Apollo is like a 1.5 years at this point. He's like kind of grown up on the channel. If you watch any of my other earlier videos, like you'll kind of see Apollo in all of his forms. But that's our little household. I'm also one of 4 siblings. I have 1 older sister, a younger sister, and a younger brother, so I'm the second child. We're all decently close in age, so I'm pretty close, especially with my younger brother and sister who live closer by. My favorite colors are green and pink. My favorite hobbies are trying new hobbies. So I'm pretty into reading. I've recently been kind of into Legos. I have tried crocheting. I've tried knitting. I've tried painting. I went through like a really big Cricut and t-shirt making phase. Also cup making. I have a few cups that I've still made. I really like to try new things and explore new hobbies though. So I wouldn't say I'm really committed to one. I'd say if I had to pick one thing that I do the most, it's probably reading. I also obviously love to game. So The Sims is by far my favorite. I've been playing The Sims since the Sims 3 era, like at least the Sims franchise. My first Sims game ever was My Sims on the DS. I also had Sims 2 on the DS, so I've been into The Sims for quite some time. I do dabble in other games though. Animal Crossing is probably my second most favorite game. I find Animal Crossing to be the most comforting game that I play and have been pretty into that recently, especially with the new update announcement coming in January. But I also play Stardew Valley. I've played Fields of Mystery a couple times. Coral Valley, I've kind of dabbled in a little bit. I actually really like Disney Dreamlight Valley. I come and go in Disney Dreamlight Valley phases, but I have yapped over most of the exterior. So let me talk about that very quickly and then we might get back to some about me things. But the thing I want to talk about most is I used a roof piece to try to emulate an inclined driveway. This does work, but for some reason I never learned my lesson. That must be placed last. If you're gonna do that, please place it last, because I moved that wall and it just deleted. And I think that was like the 5th or something time it had deleted itself. So at that point I was over it. So I do not put the inclined driveway. I do think it looks nice. I also don't really mind that it doesn't have it. Obviously, like you can't actually pull a car into there, like literally, because it's like up on a platform, but I wanted the platform because I really liked the way that the front looked with the stairs. And I didn't really care that a car couldn't pull into the driveway because cars aren't real in The Sims, so it's fine. And I am totally fine with it. I did put a truck out front and the garage ends up being decorated is like kind of a utility space and has some extra skill building things in there. So there was never gonna be a car in there anyways. That's my very long way of saying I'm sorry if it bothers you, but I was at my wit's end with the roof piece as a driveway. So now we're inside, we're working on the floor plan, and the floor plan actually came together extremely easy on this house. I wanted the garage space to be a dedicated garage space, although I did take a little chunk of it to have a bathroom. Oh, and now we're landscaping. Well, I'll tell you about the floor plan anyways. So we have an entryway, and then on the bottom floor is open concept. We have our primary bedroom there. I also include a laundry room, and then upstairs we have 2 beds, 2 baths, and then 2 extra rooms that I decided to decorate as skill building rooms, or like one of them ends up being a nectar making room, so like money making rooms, if you will. I'd actually really love to know your thoughts. Do you prefer for all of the rooms to be bedrooms, or do you prefer to have a mix of skill building rooms? I personally find with gameplay that the skill building rooms are nicer to have. So I have started trying to include those a little bit more in my builds. Normally I would have just made them all bedrooms. So I hope you don't mind that they're utility rooms. Obviously, if you want to download this house and you need an extra bedroom, you're welcome to change this house to be whatever you need it to be. While we're outside and landscaping, you'll notice I have like a little horse shed kind of thing here that has room for 2 horses or a horse, and if you want like goats and sheep, obviously you can do that. However, this lot is only a 30 by 30 lot, and the house is rather large, so I didn't really have room to put any horse training things. I do end up, I don't know if it's now or like towards the end, but I do get like one of the horse balls so they have something to play with. So they're gonna be able to get all of their needs up here on this lot. You're just not gonna be able to train them on this lot. However, over to the left of this house, there is like a little jump area. And in my head, I was kind of using that as an extension of this lot. However, if you wanted to do the barrel racing, you would have to take your horse somewhere else. I don't personally mind that. I think it's actually kind of nice to have a reason to have your Sims travel, because I feel like a lot of you play like I do and you end up at home a lot and you never go out. So it's kind of nice when you have an excuse and a reason to go out. And also, maybe you don't want to train your horse. Like, just because you have horses doesn't necessarily mean you're doing horse competitions. So this house does not have training equipment, but it is all close by. And then you can always go to that lot that's like right across from the big place where you do your horse competitions, and they have everything there that you need to train your horses to do stuff. But I think at this point we're mostly done with the exterior and we're heading into the interior. I do think I go back out for some final touches here and there, and then do the backyard, of course. But this is our formal entryway. Formal entryways are not something I usually include either, but I kind of like them. I feel like it's a nice place to do like a little bit of clutter. And then a house that's this size, I think it's extra nice because it kind of takes up a little bit of space and gives you more of an interesting floor plan. Like if I hadn't have put this here, our whole house would have just been like a big square, but now it kind of makes it more of an L-shaped house. Off of this entryway, I also added in a half bathroom. I don't know why, but I really like there to be a bathroom that's not attached to a bedroom. And the way that this floor plan worked out, there's not a bathroom that's like that. They're all en suites. And that's mostly because of the way that the dormers fell, and the dormers were just kind of a perfect place to put a bathroom in. But now we're heading to what is kind of my favorite room because it's Thanksgiving themed. I wanted this house to be a good normal house that looked like it was decorated for a Harvestfest gathering. So I didn't overkill on the Harvestfest decorations, but this is my Thanksgiving build post. So obviously I had to mix in some, but I've got the normal table with the cornucopia on it, added a couple of extra little leaves, and then I kind of jump around in this build a little bit. So we're actually gonna go back to the dining room in just a second. And I'm gonna put a little table that looks like it has food for your Sims to serve themselves. Obviously that's not how it works, but we were going for aesthetics here, you know what I mean? We also have our kitchen here. I tried to pull in a little bit of orange tones, but I didn't wanna go crazy with it. I think we end up with a nice mix of like autumnal tones, but not too much that it feels like autumn house. Do you know what I mean? I just didn't want this to feel like a house you could only live in during the fall. So I feel like there's just enough decorations that when it's a different season, you can delete them and replace them with new decorations. Maybe change a swatch here and there just to bring in more Christmas colors, for example, for the next season. But here's that table I'm talking about. I have a little banner above it that I just imagine says like Happy Harvestfest or something of the sort. We're using a lot of stuff from the Country Kitchen kit on this. If you don't have the Country Kitchen kit, I don't think I use much outside of what's on that table. So you can still download it. That table will just be empty, which honestly, you could just put like a little orange flower or something on top of and call it a day. But we're back in our living room now. I did a pretty simple living room. I kind of do what I would call my standard living room. There's a couch, there's a chair in the corner, and there's a table in the center. And I'm like, okay, good, done. I do like the color scheme. I also included some nectar storage so you can age your nectar because I do end up with a nectar making room. And then I did delete the wall behind the fireplace so I could pull that TV on top of it to kind of give it like an effect that it's an art piece. And that pumpkin one is so perfect for this house. But now we are moving on. We're going to our primary bedroom. I wanted to kind of keep some of the colors that we were using. It almost has like an orange and like sage green to light blue color scheme throughout the house. So I wanted to move that in here. Can I be really honest with you though? I actually hate the bed that I used. The pillows and like the fold over sheet look like a face to me. Like the lay down pillows are the eyes. The pillows that are stood up are the eyebrows, and then the sheet that's folded is the mouth. And so I never use that bed, but I was trying to branch out a little bit here. So I did use it. I do think it looks good. It's just like something about the face really throws me for a loop. I don't know. I can't help it. We also have a mudroom, which is another thing that I don't usually include. But for the floor plan to have the garage connect to the main part of the house, it was almost necessary. And then another thing that I added that I don't usually add is a laundry room off of that. I feel like this house floor plan is more realistic than any other house floor plan that I've ever done. I feel like I've been to houses that look like that with the mudroom and the laundry room off of the mudroom. But now we're upstairs. We're in our nectar making room. I am just kind of getting all of the typical nectar making things. It's a pretty simple room. It's nice for skill building. I know it would be better if it was in a basement, but this was already a really big house, so I was not quite ready to put in a basement. So I do apologize for that. Your nectar won't age quite as fast, but it will still age, so it's not a big deal. You'll make it up here, you'll store it downstairs, it'll all be fine. We are now moving to the first of our 2 kids' bedrooms. So when I decorate for a child, which is this one, I just imagine she's a little horse girly, okay? So this is a very horse-themed bedroom. I went with this swatch on the bed because it was very like Spirit the Stallion. If you know, you know. I loved that movie when I was a kid. Honestly, that's such a lot. I still love that movie, okay? I'd watch it right now. But I love the bed. I really like the color scheme as well. It kind of ends up being green and yellow, which is kind of my MO. So obviously I liked it. But we just got some horse posters, some horse decor. I got the little ranch toy box. And I got a violin, I think, in here. I want to say I end up moving it. I think I do end up getting the unicorn stuffy later when I'm like in the infant room. I was like, oh, maybe I should put that in there. So there ends up being a unicorn stuffy. So it'll get moved around like ever so slightly, but for the most part, it's going to be like it is. Bathrooms we're keeping really simple. I did not spend a lot of time on the bathrooms. I've talked about it a bunch. I hate decorating bathrooms. Maybe I need to like try to branch out and decorate more interesting bathrooms. Maybe it's just a me issue, but I feel like all of my bathrooms look the exact same except like different color schemes, you know? So if you feel that way too, let me know. And if you have an idea for how to be a more innovative bathroom builder, I am open to suggestions. Well, we are now in our infant room, and it is a sheep themed bedroom. I was really using a lot of the stuff from Horse Ranch. So all of these like really cutesy rugs, they're both from Horse Ranch if you're looking for them. Almost every time I place this sheep rug down, somebody asks me where it's from. And it is just one of the Horse Ranch rugs. Can I just say, I want to be a Horse Ranch hater a little bit. I don't necessarily think it's an expansion pack worthy pack. However, It has one of the best build modes in my opinion, and I find the horse ranch is a really good standalone build mode. Like it feels very full. Every time I build in this world and build with horse ranch, I don't ever go super crazy on the packs. And it's really easy to build a super pretty house with only horse ranch and base game. So I am like a mini horse ranch hater, but only because the horses are a little bugged. It has nothing to do with this build mode. This build mode is fabulous. I find I really gravitate towards decorating with horse ranch too. And maybe that's just because I kind of like a ranch style home. If you don't know, I'm from Mississippi, which is a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. And my dad was a farmer. So we actually did have horses and stuff when I was little. I guess I'll do a little bit more about me. When I was young, Santa once brought me a cow for Christmas, and that is not a joke. His name was Lance. He was great. Okay. Like now, every time I play with a cow plant, I name it Lance as a mini joke, especially on stream, because a lot of people are in on the joke every time I name the cow plant Lance. I actually have a little cow plant right here behind me who's also named Lance, if you were wondering. Just to go ahead and answer a common question every time I tell this story. No, the cow was not in my house. Santa wrapped a cow bottle and put a note in it to go look outside, and that's where the cow was, obviously. So if you're wondering how Santa got the cow to my house, he just brought the bottle inside, and we got to like bottle feed the cows. It was a really beautiful experience. Once again, I'm one of 4 siblings, and we all got a cow. Every single one of us got our own cow for Christmas. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm telling this story right now. Well, I think you learned a little bit more about me than you bargained for, but let me know if you want to know anything else in the comments. I'll try to answer your comments if I can, and if not, maybe I'll make another speed build and we can chat more. We're finishing up now. We're in the backyard. I just got a little fire pit. I've got a little table and some chairs outside as well. And we're just kind of doing some additional landscaping back here, but that's pretty much the build done. So what we're gonna do now is hop in game. I'm gonna give you a tour because I know it's a lot to take in when the camera is like whipping around like this. So I'm gonna hop in now and tour this build for you. And this is our house all done. I honestly love the way that it turned out. And I do think it's a nice mix. Like there are fall and like Thanksgiving kind of themes, but it's not too Thanksgiving-y, so it's a good house to use outside of that. On our front porch, we've got some rocking chairs, a set with hot cocoa, and then over here, a set with the cross stitching. We've got cute little fall entryway space. And then when you walk in the door, you're met with a formal entryway kind of foyer area where we have all of the necessities like the umbrellas, some shoes, thermostats, a burglar alarm, a little bench over here where you can put your shoes on. And then off of that, I did include a little half bathroom downstairs. It's a personal preference of mine to have a bathroom on every floor. But if you leave that entryway space, you're met with the dining area, which is decorated for Thanksgiving. And then over here, we have a cute little banner plus like a food setup is kind of what I was going for here. These definitely fit the vibes. These are questionable at best, but I think they work for our purposes. But if we keep moving around, we have a small little kitchen area. And then around the bend, we have our living room. There's also some of the nectar storage right here, so you can age your nectar if you want to. Also on the bottom floor, we have this mudroom here that kind of connects the house to our faux garage that we have. And then off of the mudroom, I did include a laundry room, which I almost never do, but there is an orange washer and dryer, so it kind of felt like a necessary addition. And then if you go across the way, that's where our primary bedroom is. We do have a little desk space, and they have an ensuite bathroom that was not decorated during the speed build, but I did remember to go decorate it after the fact. And then in our garage area, I included a lot of the stuff from Artist Studio because we use that up and downstairs, but I used the woodworking table from the Artist Studio, plus just like a lot of clutter. And then I figured gym equipment might be something nice to include, but it's a lot of open space, so you can kind of turn it into whatever you need for your family if you decide to play in this house. And then we also have the decorations box right here, so you can decorate for Harvestfest or whatever season. But heading back to our entryway, if we head up the stairs, you're kind of met with a plain old landing. There was not much here, but I don't ever put too much in my landings. If we go forward, we've got the nectar making room where I did include a nectar maker for your Sims. And then if you go across the way from that, we have an artist and like music room. And I just kind of thought it would be funny if we set up the cornucopia to be what your Sims were painting. It felt very on brand. And then we included 2 bedrooms. We have a kid's bedroom that is very horse themed. I figure this is a little horse girly, which I just thought was so adorable. And then they have an ensuite bathroom. And then moving across the way, I decorated for an infant. And this is kind of a sheep themed bedroom. I didn't include sheeps on this lot, but you definitely could get some if you wanted to. And then they also have a little bedroom off of that. Heading back outside, I do have the truck here. I talked about it in the speed build, but I did give up on the slanted roof as a driveway. So obviously the truck couldn't technically pull into that. I personally don't care. But if you do, you're welcome to put the slanted roof back. I just could not. It kept deleting itself. It was too much. But around the bend, I have a little place for your horses to play. And then we have a little stall. So you can have 2 horses if you wanted to, or you could do like horse and sheep, kind of like the kids' bedrooms. That's totally your choice. And then if you keep going around, I did include a lot of the prairie grass so your horses can eat out here. And then we have a little fire pit area. And then on the porch, I kind of wanted to extend the Thanksgiving celebration. So I included a table out here. I figure maybe if your Sim had a big family, you might need more seats. Like if you were inviting over extended family. I know for me, when we go over to my husband's family's house, there's always like an extra table outside. So I was just kind of going off of that. And then I just included some like extra cozy seating. And then around this way, I did remember a trash can. And then I don't know if I mentioned it in the speed build or not, but the mailbox is on the porch. I used this one from Snowy Escape. So you'll notice there's no mailbox here, but it's right here. It blends in really well. So I figure a lot of people will think I forgot, which honestly I forget a lot. So it's not a incorrect thought per se. But that is the house all finished. Called it the Autumn Ranch House, and I am gonna go ahead and get that up for you. It is gonna be kind of pack heavy. I know this to be true. However, while it does look really pack heavy, I think on a lot of these items, I might have used like 1 or 2 things. So if you don't have them all, I don't think it's a big deal. I think you must have horse ranch, cottage living, seasons, of course. And then I would argue country kitchen because all of like the plates that we used were from country kitchen. And then artist studio because we use that in 2 bedrooms. But I think you could get away without having the other ones because Cozy Bistro, for example, I used 1 wine bottle. So if you don't have Cozy Bistro, not a problem. The bathroom clutter kit, you could just replace with regular clutter. I did use their towel racks. Laundry day, I mean, you could just replace the laundry room with something else, but I did use a good chunk of laundry day stuff. Cool kitchen, the only thing I used are the salt and pepper shakers, so you don't need cool kitchen. If you were ever wondering how to see what items were used, I'll show you really fast. So if you click on the icon on the gallery, and you scroll down, you can click show used items under the build mode items. Used items right here, and it'll let you go back and forth. So you can go to show pack items and show used items, and this will show you everything that was used in the pack. So if you're looking for any lot on the gallery, not just mine, and you wanna know if you actually need that pack to download it, that's a good place to go look. But that's gonna be it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have the happiest Thanksgiving if you celebrate and the happiest day if you don't. I'd like to give a special shout out to my YouTube channel members. Thank you guys so much for the extra support. It really means the world to me. If you'd also like to become a channel member, you can find the link in the description below. You get a shout out at the end of every video as well as access to some special emotes. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have the best rest of your day and I will see you in the next one. Bye.